This is a special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. We're going to take a look at heart health for both women and men. Our guest is Dr. Vesna Skul. She is a medical doctor. She is a co-founder of the Comprehensive Center for Women's Medicine. It's a holistic, integrative medical practice in Chicago, and they do treat men as well. Doctor, welcome to Late Night Health.
Thank you very much, Mark, for having me.
So let's talk about heart health. I mean, everybody, say over the age of 40, is scared of Alzheimer's, cancer. Is heart health up there too?
It should be. Heart disease is an equal opportunity killer, Mark. And while we see both men and women at the Comprehensive Center for Women's Medicine, 90% of our patients are women who are fearing cancer, particularly breast cancer, more than any other serious illness. And statistically speaking, when you look at the prevalence of heart disease and its lethality, heart disease in many of its forms kills more women than all cancers combined.
Oh my. And what, I don't know if you know the statistics on men. We're right up there too, aren't we?
Exactly. It's really a number one killer, and much of that is dependent on very preventable lifestyle habits. And in other words, giving us the opportunity to reverse what maybe a genetic deck has dealt us. So, working with patients for the last 35 years has given me the opportunity to help them really reverse a lot of the genetically predisposed conditions that would lead to bad outcomes, and certainly heart disease, stroke, hypertension, diabetes are some of the most salient ones that we can do a great deal to diminish or even reverse by just living a little healthier.
There's a new study called Epigenetics. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, we're talking about, when I was in medical school, which really wasn't quite with the dinosaurs, but it was back there in the late 70s, early 80s. We were essentially taught that your genetics really sort of paves your future, and there's nothing to it. The best example in my own personal life is that my dad had a heart attack at age 40. And by changing his diet, his work environment, and thanks to my dear mother, who converted our diet from the continental part of Croatian cuisine, which really was influenced much by, the German, Austrian style of sauces and wonderful desserts, to the Mediterranean style of the coastal region of Croatia. Way before we knew that Mediterranean diet is about the healthiest on the planet, helped my father really reframe his health, and he happily lived to be in his mid-80s.
Oh my.
So powerful influence on what the genetic deck has dealt us by essentially helping turn off the promoter genes of illness or turn on the ones that actually prevent it, is what epigenetics is all about.
Oh, and what we're doing today with Dr. Skul is very simple. We have a free seminar coming up that's online, and we'll give you more details as we continue. Cardiovascular disease is prevalent in my family, and so I try to avoid things like meat. I'm still working on that E word. That's exercise, and I'm now that the pandemic is, we don't still know where it is, but I'm considering going back to the gym. I haven't because of COVID, but is exercise and eating right really the way to go?
Crucial. Crucial, crucial, crucial. And, if I were to recommend one single thing to all of my patients that could have a powerful impact on their outcomes, is get up and move. Really, and it doesn't have to be a lengthy, elaborate exercise programs, expensive gym memberships. Literally, walking outside, doing something called high intensity interval training is very helpful to actually help regrow lung tissue and heart cells and support our microvasculature, and can easily be done in the privacy of one's own home. Jumping jacks and cool down, or jump rope, or do lunges, something very, very simple, but be consistent and do it, minimally 3 to 5 times a day for a few minutes. Ideally 30 minutes of moving around every day would be perfect. But if one wants even more powerful results, doing high intensity interval training is really crucial. And combining that with nutritional support, we literally can grow new microvasculature and grow new lungs.
You can regrow.
You could regrow. Yep.
Oh my. I mean, that's amazing.
As documented by, pulmonary function testing and stress testing, et cetera, and capacity of our exercise endurance. We definitely can do that.
That's absolutely amazing. There's a cause for most cardiovascular issues. I'm going to mispronounce it. And you can help me out here. Glycocalyx?
So the health of our vascular system really is dependent on the integrity of the lining of over 60,000 miles, if put side by side, microvascular tissue. So what does that mean? Well, when we think about the vascular tissue and system, what comes to mind? The big pipes, the arteries that bring oxygenated blood from the lungs to the organs, the brain, the internal organs, our muscles, etc. And then the veins that take the used up blood back to the lungs to purge it and cleanse it. But that system of the pipes is only 1% of our vascular system. The rest is comprised by micro capillaries that essentially penetrate deep into the tissues and are bringing the nutrients, oxygen, hormones directly to the cell, and in turn taking away wastes and toxins and carbon dioxide. And in that process, obviously, the more of them, the more of them being healthy, the better the overall state of health. But what is important for their health is what was the tongue twister for you, is the endothelial glycocalyx, which is the gel-like lining of the internal lumen of the microvasculature that even under the best of health circumstances deteriorates over time as we age. But
is there a way of cleaning out that, rotor-rootering that, so to speak?
Absolutely. Again, that is the whole process of aging. And, when as physicians, we say, well, this is consistent with an aging process, or we read a report of a brain scan which shows some brain atrophy consistent with age. I really don't like to expect that, because my view of aging is one of vibrant living and living long and dying short.
I love
and how can we affect that? We can, again, through the lifestyle changes. We can support the nutrition of that endothelial lining or endothelial glycocalyx by providing it nutrients that rebuild those little hairs on the inside of the lumen of the cell, which are lost or diminished as we age. Think of it as either a lush front lawn, and then people playing sports and kind of denuding it, or a shag carpeting that over time gets really sort of depleted and doesn't have the buoyancy that once had. But again, if we first are able to diagnose that process exists, but we kind of know that it does, but now we have the ability to look non-invasively into our microvasculature, assess the degree of damage. We can also nutritionally support it to regrow. And that has been done and measured in some elaborate work that has been published internationally. And, fortunately, we can actually reverse a bunch of those conditions.
Fortunately, shag carpet is no longer in mode.
In vogue.
And it's, but you could have that shag carpet within your body, right?
And you want the shag carpet to be there. You don't want it to go bald. So to strengthen the little hairs on the inside of the microcapillaries, one needs nutrients that make that Teflon-like coating, which prevents the platelets and oxidated bad cholesterol and toxins from sticking to the lining of the vasculature and creating problems.
And can we get that from food today? Even eating healthy? So
the problem with our food supply, Mark, is that in the last few decades, even just about 10 years ago, when I was talking about environmental health and toxins and pollutants as they affect our health, there's an agency within CDC that keeps track of registered toxins in our environment. And the number was in the high 80,000s. Just recently checked, it's exceeded 100,000 substances that are registered as known toxins. And those toxins come to us through ingestion, through air, through water. So consequently, that same water and the soil that organic produce is grown in has been depleted. And no matter how healthy one attempts to live and eat, we're not getting the same nutrient density in our food supply in 2022 as we did, say, 50 or 100 years ago.
So what about, you and I live in urban areas. You're in Chicago, spent a lot of time on Lakeshore Drive years ago. I'm here just outside of Los Angeles. What about in rural areas, Appalachia? Is it the same for them as well?
Well, there actually, some areas of the country that definitely are more polluted, and some agricultural environments that are also more polluted, thanks to still use of glyphosate in the United States, whereas this poison, also known as Roundup, has been banned in most of the world. We still use it. And
every place but here in the United States.
And its half-life in the underground waters, one of its metabolites, remains unchanged for up to 20 years. And there is ample literature evidence how toxic this is to our health in general, as a carcinogen, as a metabolic, offender. So that said, obviously in the untouched areas of the world, including parts of our beautiful country, there still are areas where, one could grow a healthier garden and healthier food supply, but that's not going to happen to the majority of us.
Right. So we need to supplement, and that's part of what the seminar is about, is to introduce this new product. Am I correct?
Yes, and I think to educate both the physician colleagues and the lay public that is interested in maintenance and or improvement of their health, we kind of like to talk about intelligent nutritional supplements. And what does that mean? Well, there is a myriad of them, thousands and thousands lining the shelves of supermarkets, even the whole food market. You would think you're getting a better value from the GNC or Costco, but what sets a good nutritional supplement apart from all of those is hard for the general public to assess, hard for most of my colleagues to assess, because as medical professionals, we really have received very minimal training in nutrition. And while that has changed under my watch at my alma mater, Rush University, about 20 some years ago, and I was patted on the back because I was on the curriculum committee, and it took us 4 years to basically increase the number of educational hours on nutrition from 4 to 8 in the undergraduate medical training. It makes me very sad because that number hasn't changed over the last 20 years. And while, my colleagues thought that we did a great thing because we 100% increased the content of that, it really only was such a small drop out of the 2,600 educational hours that medical students get in their education. So consequently, as physicians, unless we have innate interest in nutritional sciences, we are not prepared to counsel our patients on how to eat well and how to choose supplements intelligently. And, so to that end, I've committed the last 25 years of my professional life to sourcing and figuring out which supplement actually works and which doesn't, have come up with some core nutritional supplementation that supports the neuroendocrine system, our immune system, our gut. But until very recently, we did not really have something that could repair and restore our microvasculature as the product that we came upon just recently, yet it has been around for over 10 years, Endocalyx Pro, that you're holding in your hand. That actually is a little miracle. And why do I say that? It has been studied in over 140 international universities in conjunction with a diagnostic device that assesses, the shed carpeting. Is it tall or is it denuded?
Right.
And that device is soon going to be available to physicians like myself, and practitioners around the country, not just the university centers that did the research, but to, in a patient encounter in 5 minutes, actually generate a score that assesses their microvascular integrity. And then, so what if it's bad? It's sometimes we get a diagnostic test and we get a result, but we have no solution.
Right.
And this product offers a solution to, over time, repair and regenerate and restore and protect that coating, so that things don't stick and things don't die off, but we can vibrantly supporting every cell in our body with oxygen, nutrients, and hormones, and remove waste.
And I spoke to one user, Donna, who introduced us, actually. And
Yes.
she sent me a note the other day to say that her husband, in 3 weeks of using Endocalyx Pro, is off of his blood pressure meds, which is fabulous.
So testimonials like that, are really abundant. And in the 3 months that we've been using the product in our practice, between Dr. Hoyer and myself, my partner and best friend from medical school, co-founder of the Comprehensive Center for Women's Medicine, among our patients, we're hearing exactly stories like that. We're hearing stories about, improvement in mental focus and stamina, and all the symptoms of early signs of deterioration of the endocalyx, which are non-specific, but that an internist hears all the time. Oh, I feel fatigued. I have a little bit of a brain fog, cold hands, cold feet. So you chase the thyroid. It's not their thyroid. What might it be? All of those, hair thinning, or
Good. It'll
concentration.
give me.
Well, think of what is feeding those follicles. It's the small little capillaries, right?
Sure.
And then in the younger set, an obstetrical group of patients, the women prone to preeclampsia and eclampsia, again, cardiovascular markers of ill cardiovascular health, which actually 45% of women entering childbearing age and pregnancies have some form of cardiovascular impairment, and they don't even know it.
Oh my.
So, incredibly important to keep all of that in perspective. And then, hearing those testimonials, and also reading over 100 papers published in peer-reviewed journals, ranging from cardiac and nephrology literature, endocrine literature about diabetes, literature in infectious diseases, particularly relative to COVID. There are studies where patients who were near intubation and whose cardiorespiratory status was greatly compromised, recovered much faster than with any other form of therapy. And that is thanks to the fact that very rapidly, the 7 natural ingredients in this product can restore that endothelial integrity, which is the crux of inflammatory changes and devastation that COVID causes in the body.
And you're talking about cellular inflammation just now.
Yes.
Not
and
the
I'm talking about, inflammatory reactions on the inside of those little capillaries caused on by what's known as cytokine storm from the virus, but also other inflammatory substances. Another thing that happens in individuals who consume this, thus the improvement in blood pressure and other cardiovascular symptoms, is enhancement of production of something called nitric oxide, which opens up the capillaries and provides better circulation and nutrient and oxygen delivery to the tissues.
Well, there's a free seminar coming up, and in that, the two doctors, Dr. Skul and her partner, Dr. Hoyer, are going to be talking about a number of things. And I have a little list here that I can read. Testing patients to quantify capillary density, blood volume, blood flow, red cell velocity, the ability to monitor and measure microcirculation, and it goes on and on. This is free, and we've had the link, the website to this very vital free seminar up throughout our program. Doctor, thank you very much for your time. Again, the name of the product, if you're interested right now, and I got to swing it around there. There we go. And everything's backwards, so that's why I'm having trouble. Endocalyx Pro, I've been trying it, and I will be having, I think sometime in April, I have another blood test coming up, and I'll find out, and blood pressure, and I'll find out how I'm doing. Doctor, thank you very, very much for joining us. I really appreciate that.
Well, Mark, very much appreciate being part of this, and thank you as well. Hopefully, you can join us too on the upcoming webinar.
Absolutely, and I plan to be there. I'm Mark Alyn. Thanks for watching. This is Late Night Health.